Hello and welcome to Math Foundations for Healthcare. This is our first lecture. This is Math 63. In this lecture, we are going to be covering the Hindu Arabic numerals and what the heck those are. We'll be working with numbers base 10 and we'll explain how that works. After we do that, then we'll look at basic arithmetic of whole numbers. So how do we add, subtract, multiply, and divide? And then we're going to take some extra focus on long division, because that's usually the one that people need the most practice in. Okay, so here we go. Let's start with what are Hindu Arabic numerals? Okay, in order to understand Hindu Arabic numerals, first a little bit of history. This is probably going to be the oldest bit of history that you've ever learned. 35,000 years ago is where we're going to begin. We're starting in a cave in the south of Africa. It's now on the border between South Africa and Swaziland. And someone was counting something 35,000 years ago. We have found, or humans have found, back in the 70s, a bone that is now called the Lumbombo bone, because it was found in the Lumbombo Mountains. And this bone has 29 little notches on it, and so those 29 notches, they look like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or something like this.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. So
there's just 29 notches, and this was the first ever example of someone representing a number. But that, as you can see, it gets a little unwieldy if we want to represent a number that is bigger. So what people did is they created more symbols. And so as time went on, there were other cultures that did things like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so every fifth number would have a little slant, so that 5 would be represented that way. And then as time went on, they would represent 10 like that. And then further on, there were other cultures. You probably know of Roman numerals that would have represented 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. And then 5 was just a V, and then 10 was an X. And it goes on and on. The problem with these types of counting is if you want to represent 0 in any of these sorts, there isn't a way to do it. To represent 0 would just be to be like, okay, no ones. There's nothing to write. So it wasn't until around 300 AD-ish, somewhere around there, in India, the concept of using 0 as a number and as a placeholder came into being. So now we could say, hey, there's 0, but what they then had is different symbols for the first bunch of numbers. So what we've got now is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and then of course things just roll over and we put a 1 in front to represent 10. Okay, this is not a surprise to anyone, but this is what we call the Hindu Arabic numerals. Okay, when they started, they looked a lot different when the people in India were writing them, but functionally they are exactly the same. They work exactly the same. So what we've got here are 10 symbols that we use to represent the numbers from 0 to 9, and then every further number we're going to say how many tens there are, and then how many units there are, and that's how this is going to work. So what ends up happening is numbers get broken up into different columns. So we'll have the first column, which is the units column. Okay, and then we could have the tens column, and then the hundreds, the thousands, of course. So if we've got units, tens, hundreds, thousands, then what comes next? Well, even now, like, we need to come up with a system of creating new places. So what they did is just said, well, the next one will be 10 times 1,000, so they just called it 10,000. The 10,000s column, and we have the 100,000s column. 100,000s, and then the next place value is the millions. Okay, so units, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions, and so on and so forth. Okay, and getting into, it'll be 10 millions, 100 millions, billions, and then 10 billions, 100 billions, trillions, and so on and so forth. Okay, so if I wrote down a number, let's just throw some digits in here, 5, 7, 2, 3, 7, 9, 8, we would read this number as 5,723,798. Okay, and so that is how we can now look at the decimal system. Here is what this is called, the base 10 system. This is how the Hindu Arabic numerals work. What we've got is 8 units, and then we have 9 tens, so there's 90 plus 8 to make 98. There's 7 hundreds, so that's 700, and then 9 tens, and then 8, and we can add up this huge number from that, and that's how that works. All right, excellent. So that is the beginning understanding of how these numbers are. Okay, so if we wanted to write this out as like long form, we could say this is 5 times 10. Now how much 10 is this? This is million, so this is 10 to the power of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this 5 millions is 10 to the power of 6. And then we have 7 times 10 to the 5. And we have 2 times 10 to the 4, the tens thousands. And then we have 3 times 10 to the 3. And then we have 7 times 10 to the 2. And then we have 9 times 10 to the 1. And then we have 8 times 1, which is 10 to the 0. So that does sort of match the pattern, but saying 10 to the 0 or saying multiplied by 1 is a little silly, so we'll just leave it. Okay, so which of course is equal to the 5,723,798 that we've been talking about. All right, very good. So this is our way of understanding the whole numbers that we're going to be using. Okay, and that's important. So now we can check off the Hindu Arabic numerals and working with numbers base 10. Now we're going to get to the actual arithmetic.